very good afternoon to you. This is your host Rachel Hassan on our very first campus radio show. I hope you all had a bright and fresh start to the spring 22 semester. Our debut is with the show called Guest on Campus, and today we have some very special guests from Friends of Forman from the US. The reasons they are special for us are because, firstly, they are the very first guests at our campus radio show. Secondly, this new facility, the Media Center, where we are sitting in our radio studio, is a result of the generous donations by them and many other friends of Forman. So, a big thank you to all of you for giving our students this amazing, much needed facility to help them in their practical training for career development. Without further ado, I would like to start by introducing our guests. We have with us Reverend Samuel Schreiner from New Hampshire, Mr. John Gill from Stanford, Connecticut, Mr. Joel Wang from Washington State, and Mr. David Watermulder from California. Welcome all of you. How are you?
Wonderful.
Good.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. So, you all visited Lahore when it's spring, flowers are in full bloom, and perfect weather, bright and sunny, beautifully lit roads in the evenings. So, can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
It's my first time in Pakistan, first time to Lahore, and I think we caught the perfect weather. Everyone tells us there's no smog or smoke in the air. It's really beautiful here, a little bit warm. That's why I'm wearing short sleeves, but it's a great time to be here, and the campus looks great. Yeah.
I'm glad to know that. Yes. Any feedback from you, Mr. Joel?
I think the first thing I noticed is that the campus is so lush. The trees and the variety of plants and so forth, it's very impressive.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And
I love being woken up by the birds as well. So the birds are very alert and awake in the spring here.
like a morning alarm for you.
Right.
Okay, great. And anything from you, Mr. Hartman?
Gill.
Yeah, Mr. Gill, I'm sorry.
I've been called worse things.
Yeah.
I like the openness of the campus. It's not all clogged up and congested, so you have a feeling that you can breathe well, and especially in this weather.
Yes,
so,
yes.
No, it's a pleasant surprise because I think I expected it to be a little bit more confined. So it's a pleasant surprise.
Different from your expectations, really.
Slightly,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. All right. So, Reverend Sam, I'd like to ask you my next question, which would be that can you tell us a little bit about Friends of Forman?
Yes. So Friends of Forman was formed by Dr. Peter Armacost back in the United States. When Forman was denationalized, he felt that there might be some help that could come from Friends in the West. So he incorporated this organization. It's a nonprofit, and I was invited to join the board after I visited Forman Christian College in 2007. So Friends of Forman now raises money to help support the rector's vision, campus projects, and most importantly, scholarships for students of need.
And I'm sure you've witnessed all these projects that are all around the campus, and this media center facility is one of those.
Yes.
Thank you. So, and with this, I'd like to take the opportunity of asking you about the media center visit. How did you find it? Like, what is your opinion? What did you have in mind, and was it up to your expectations, I would say?
Oh, it's remarkably outfitted. I think we are excited about this. We think media is a growing call and a way to learn how to tell our stories, and especially very important stories. And I think this is a great place to begin and to be trained in that, and very excited to see it up and running.
No, thank you. Mr. Gill, what would you, if you would like to add to that what expectations did you have when you were told that you'll be visiting the Media Center?
Well, I think one of the things that struck me was hearing that there's, I believe, over 300 students in the upper two level in the media and communications
Yes.
as major. And I think that's reflective of the interests that students have. And you look ahead to the world that we're going to be living in 10, 20 years from now. I think it's a wonderful major. And that's one of the things that I like, that it reflects the fact that Forman is looking ahead, not in the past. And so I think this is an excellent example of that.
Okay. So on your visit here, you met students, then you met faculty members, and you met staff as well from different offices. And I'm sure they must have given you an insight about liberal arts education as they understood it and as they experience it now while working here, while studying here. So how can you, based on their experiences, what they told you, how can you as visitors sort of draw a comparison or maybe tell us about similarities that the liberal arts education has from here and the Western universities? Mr. Huang, if you would like to tell us a little bit about that.
I think the first thing I observed in interacting with students yesterday is that, and I remember, I think I was speaking to two psychology majors, so certainly a liberal arts major. I think the first thing I observed was that they were very enthusiastic, and they were also very free to challenge nominal thinking. And I think the fact that they are willing to challenge status quo and existing beliefs or perhaps values from their parents, is to me is a good thing. It's a good thing because it says that they're actually thinking for themselves, which is the primary value, in my opinion, of a liberal arts education, is the ability to think and to think clearly, to be able to rationalize it and express it well to others. So,
Mr. Watermulder, would you like to add to that? That how do you think students here, again, based on your interaction with them, how do you think they are different when it comes to specifically liberal arts education?
A couple of things that I noticed. One is just liberal arts education is really broad, and I think the students we met were bright. They're interested. They're studying all kinds of different things, and that's really exciting, kind of across the liberal arts curriculum. But the other thing I noticed was the way that women and men are studying together on this campus. And as equals, and the women are not shy to jump in with their opinions, and the men respect them, and vice versa. That was really, really cool to see. And I think that that'll probably be a surprise to people who I talked to in the United States when I shared that the experience we had here. This is a great campus for both men and women to learn together.
So over there, generally people would think that it's not a co-education in Pakistan. Majority of the educational institutions, is that the impression that they would have?
well, I can say for myself, because I've never visited Pakistan or South Asia, and because Pakistan is the Islamic Republic, right? I was surprised to see that. I would have thought that the women would be much more segregated, if you will, at least somehow distance, a little more distance.
I would like to add to that, Mr. Wang, things have now changed a lot because yes, technology has advanced, media has advanced, so it is giving them a lot more opportunities to express themselves. And especially with liberal arts education, we give them opportunities, we give them chances to experiment as much as they can, to explore and experience, so that it helps them to develop their skills as well. That is something that we expect from them. Okay, so in your opinion, Mr. Watermulder, what skills do you think can present the undergraduate or the graduate students that they should be working on? The present students these days, what do you think that the skills that they need to work on for a successful career in the long run?
Yeah. We're sitting here in the media center, and so I think from my perspective, this is the right place to ask that question, because communication and especially telling, like Sam said, telling your story, that's really important. And so for students here, I would say English language is the medium for that. So a lot of students here have excellent English, and it's really impressive. And I know others are still raising their level. And so I would encourage them to continue on that journey, because English is really going to be open a lot of doors in the future, whatever they're doing. So they can, English is around the world. It's a global language that will carry them really far.
Reverend Schreiner, yes, I'd like to ask your opinion as well.
I think technology is going to be a part of almost everyone's workplace. And I think one of the things that Forman has developed rapidly is its technological abilities. Its Wi-Fi, its digital library that will be added in the campus center, we think is going to also grow research abilities for the 21st century. So I think this is one way to be on the fast track to modernization that'll be so necessary to have your skills relevant in the future of the workplace.
Yeah, so definitely advancing themselves technologically. Okay, on a lighter note, we'll come back to your visit to Lahore. How was what touristy stuff did you do while you were here, Mr. Gill?
So far, haven't done any, but we're going to go to the old fort, I think, tomorrow night, and
great.
we'll see some of the old city and the historic areas, which appeals to me. I was a history major a long time ago, and then before I got an MBA. I just wanted to refer back to one thing, though, and the previous question, that is that I think that the world that these kids are going to be growing into, the key thing is to provide a basis for education where they can learn and relearn and relearn. And the change is accelerating. The pace of change is only going to go up. So the fact that they are learning, they're learning to think critically. They're learning to compare and contrast things. They're looking at different perspectives. I think that's going to be critical for their success in the future. So I'm thrilled to see that is really part of the culture here at Forman.
Yes, it is indeed. Okay, so regarding a very common question that tourists are asked, what is your opinion about the Lahori cuisine? Have you tried any Lahori food? Anything you have to say about it, Reverend Schreiner?
Well, I think we all would like to be Punjabis. You know, we have been treated to a lot of Lahore taste on this campus. So I think you have excellent food, excellent curries, and mixtures that we've been able to enjoy so far. We'll have a night out on Saturday night. And we'll be at the food street, and we'll sample some of that. But it's hard to go away hungry from Forman.
Yeah, I'm going away with some extra pounds. I've been fed very well.
Mr. Watermulder is concerned about that.
Yes,
okay.
Come on.
You'll see him running on campus in the morning to burn his calories.
Okay.
I like to say spice is nice, so
Spice is
I'm
nice.
very happy here.
Okay, that's good. Yes, Mr. Wang, what would you like to tell us?
Well, I tend to be a little more adventurous. I tend to choose food that I have not seen before. And what I observed was that, and I did so just a few hours ago at lunch, and I had no idea what I was eating, but it was extremely good. So I asked what it was, and I had no clue. I had no clue how it was made. One of the staff members explained it to me. But what I discovered was that, even choosing something that I have no clue, it's really good.
It's really good. It's a surprise. There's the surprise element in that.
Right.
That's why. Okay, so any memories that you are taking back with you? Anything. Reverend Schreiner, I'll start with you. Any memories that you will be visiting us, I'm sure, again.
Well, I'm going to take back the memory of one student that I met 2 years ago before COVID broke out, and she was a freshman starting with a very high score in mathematics, and I met her again today, and she's now looking at education. So Forman does open up your opportunities and for you to find out what other gifts and interests and skills you have, and that's just a memory of what a blessing it is to come to such a multi-dimensional university that you have, so students can really pursue different studies as their passions awaken to them.
Yes. Mr. Watermulder.
I think for me, we had a chance to sit down with some students, and we were around small tables just talking and getting to know them, and we were talking about social media, and it's really funny because students here use all the same social media we use in the United States, and so that's a connection point for us. And then we ate some pizza, and so it was a good time, just kind of those relaxing conversations with students about real life.
Great, that's nice. Yes, Mr. Gill.
I think my abiding recollection will be just the sheer genuine hospitality that's been extended to us at all levels, by students, by faculty, by staff, just people we meet in general. And that's really a wonderful trait. And I'm not going to forget that.
Glad to know that. Yes, Mr. Huang, your memories.
So I can say that I think I'll have wonderful memories of this trip. One thing that struck me was the same conversation we had with students yesterday. And I was at a table with 4 students, along with one other gentleman, Steve Rasmussen, who's not here right now. And I asked the students some really hard questions, actually. I tend to be a more serious person, so I asked them some really hard questions. And I was struck by how honest they were. They gave me some very honest answers, some of which were not necessarily positive, some of which were very, very positive. And I was just struck by how honest they were. In some ways, even though we've never met each other, there was a little bit of bonding that occurred, even in that short 20 minutes or so. And I really appreciate that.
So you were happy about the connection that was sort of
We-
that was there immediately.
Yeah,
right? That's
yeah,
nice.
I guess my sense was that we formed some sort of bond
Yeah.
in that very
Yes.
short time of just
Yes.
talking to each other.
Yes.
And as I said, I asked some somewhat provocative questions to the
Okay.
students,
Okay.
and they answered me very honestly. I was really surprised.
Okay, I'm glad you had such good experiences and you have beautiful memories to take back with you. And we hope you had a wonderful stay and your visits and your interactions. So, this brings us to the end of our show. Thank you very much for joining us at the studio today, despite your very busy schedules. We know you had back to back engagements, but still you managed to come here. Thank you so much. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our first show, Guest on Campus. This is your host, Rachel Hassan, signing off. Stay safe and have a lovely day.